Hi, it's Roz, and it's very nearly the end of August, and that means it's time to do a September TBR. I've decided TBRs are a thing I do now, because it kind of focuses my mind a little, but also the best thing is then sometimes people say, oh, I've read that and it was really good, or I'd like to read that, or you could say, don't read that, that's terrible, nobody's done that yet, but feel free if it's true. So here we go. Now, September in my head is inextricably linked with Shakespeare because of Shaketube, except that the Shaketube hosts are messing with my brain because they've renamed it Shaketember. That's their prerogative, and I can cope. So the hosts are Jason, Lukash, Steve, and Rainey. And they're each picking, this year, slightly different model, they're each picking one Shakespeare play. They're doing one each week. And at the end of each week, they'll do a Zoom chat, the four of them, about it. Great plan. So Tilly and I are going to get on board with that for our discussing drama this month. And we're picking one of their four choices, Othello, to read for our September play. Now, I'm slightly anxious about this because the last time I read Othello was when I was 18 and I was studying it for A-level, and I found it so painfully tragic in a kind of a way that, there just seems like there's no way out, and just it all gets worse and worse and more wrong, and you just want to say, no, don't think that, and no, don't listen to him, and that I haven't dared open it since. I don't know if I've even been to see a production. But Tilly's persuaded me that I must be brave, so Othello it is. And we'll make a video together. I'm also going to stick with Shakespeare for my poetry this month, and read a batch of sonnets. And I happen to know that there is a very helpful way to get me through this and understanding it wonderfully, which is to use Too Tight to Trek's wonderful series of videos, the Shaky Sonnet Show, and I've watched lots of those already, and the last kind of season of the show I watched every one, but the first season I didn't, so only a few. So I'm going to do sonnets 1 to 30 with Too Tight holding my hand. Thank you, Too Tight. And if you've never watched any of Too Tight's videos about Shakespeare's sonnets, Shaketember could be the moment to go and discover them. They are just brilliant. So that's my play and my poetry. Now, this time last year, there was an event in September called Latinx-a-thon. I think because September is like Latinx Appreciation Month in the States. I don't know. Anyway, I haven't seen any sort of announcement videos for it this year, but nevertheless, it was enough of an excuse for me to plan to read the Iliac Crest by Cristina Rivera Garza this month. And it's been on my kind of mental wish list for a little while because Mark Nash recommended it really strongly. So fingers crossed, I will enjoy that one. I'm also using the possibly non-existent Latinx-a-thon as motivation to get me to finally read, because I surely should have done by now, the Aleph by Borges. And these are short stories. Now, if you've watched this channel any amount, you may realised that I have a bit of an issue with short stories. They rarely kind of really, I don't know, set me alight in the way that a novel does. There's something about the form that doesn't appeal to me so much. But if anyone could and should, surely it would be Borges. So that's the plan. I will report back. Now, I've been trying at the moment to pick a graphic novel each month, and because as with short stories, it's a genre that doesn't always, or form I suppose, doesn't always do it for me, and I'm trying to sort of learn to appreciate graphic novels. And I thought, should I try and think of something to do with Shakespeare, something Latinx? And then I realised there is a graphic novel that I just absolutely must read for a really silly reason. Okay, I need to read Red Rosa by Kate Evans, and it's which is like a graphic memoir of Rosa Luxemburg. And the reason I need to read that is because every video I watch by Britta Bella, there's a copy of Red Rosa sitting on the bookshelf just behind her, and so it's kind of like lodged in my head. So this is the month that I will finally kind of deal with that by reading it. There we go. Now then, I've got 2 things I need to read for the BookTube Prize in September, which I won't be able to talk about till the end, till the BookTube Prize results are announced. One of those is Shuggie Bain. I'm very much looking forward to this because it's such a favourite book of so many booktubers that I admire and appreciate the opinion of, like Sean, for example. The other is The Prettiest Star by Carter Sickles, and I'm quite excited by that one as well. But obviously, there's the other 4 that I'll have read out of the 6 that have also all been, quite special books. So who knows what my top 3 picks will be. I will let you know when the announcement happens. Now, I quite like to read something new and shiny. Sometimes, you get lured in by the reviews and, what's new and shiny right now. And I've got 2 new and shiny books that I'm planning to read this month. They're both sort of summer 2021 releases. That's what I mean. And one of them is A Passage North by Anuk Arudpragnasam, a Sri Lankan author. And I'm hoping, if everything goes right, I may be joining Kim of Middle of the Book March and Sean the Book Maniac for a Zoom chat sometime in the middle to or later in the month about this book. It's a book along listed books. It's one of the ones that Sean's reading from the book along list, and it's possibly the one on the book along list. That and The Promise are the 2 that I was most excited to read. So my other new and shiny summer 2021 release that I'm going to read is Pandora's Jar by Nathalie Haynes. Now, and it's Women in the Greek Myths, and I really enjoyed her 2 previous books inspired by sort of Greek myth and literature, A Thousand Ships and Jocasta's Children. So fingers crossed that one's going to be a goodie. All this new stuff, I need to read something old, don't I? I'm going to reread Romola by George Eliot. The reason I'm going to reread it is because there's an Eliot 2021 group that's gradually reading its way through George Eliot, and this month the group is reading Romola, and it's such a lovely group of interested readers that I thought, yes, I will revisit Romola to join them. And if you're interested in taking part in that, there's a Voxer group you can join, and you do that via Kim of Middle of the Book March. If you fancy Romola, it's a bit of an outlier amongst Eliot's novels because it's historical fiction. It's set in medieval Florence, so yeah, bit different from all the others. I'd be interested. I'm really interested to see what people make of it. Now, last thing on my kind of firm TBR is something from further afield. I always like to read something from further afield, and this is also my one proper sort of buddy read this month, and I'm going to read Old Drift by Namwali Serpell, who's a Zambian author, although she now lives in the United States, and I'm buddy reading that with Courtney Ferriter, and I'm looking forward to that enormously, because even if the book isn't good, Courtney will be a joy to read it with, I know. So that's my September, and as I say, tell me about yours, tell me your plans, tell me if you've read any of these, tell me if you want to read any of these. Yeah, and happy September reading.